Hi everybody, it's Billy here from Billy English, and today we want to have a look at IELTS speaking part 2. First of all, this part is usually called the individual long turn, and that is because you speak on your own. The part lasts between 3 to 4 minutes, and this includes preparation time. You will get 1 minute to prepare using pen and paper and a card with questions to prompt you and to tell you the topic. Then you have 2 minutes to talk individually on your own about the topic, and afterwards the examiner might ask you a couple of questions linked to the topic. Let's have a look at an example card. For example, describe something you own which is important to you. You should say where you got it from, how long you've had it, and what you use it for. And explain why it is important to you. So you can see you are given the topic and some questions to prompt you. Then you have a minute to prepare and to think about what you want to say. And like I said, you can take some notes with the pen and paper. And you can use those notes when you start speaking. Then the examiner will ask you to speak. And you will have to speak for 2 minutes uninterrupted on your own, answering the questions. Make sure you organize what you're going to say. After that, the examiner will ask you some more questions connected to the topic. These could be, is the item valuable in terms of money? Could you replace this possession easily? Etc. Now, the assessment criteria for part 2 are the same as for part 1 and part 3. You will be assessed at your fluency, coherence, that means how logically organized it is what you're saying and how easy you can talk without interruption and hesitation. Your lexical resource, that is your vocabulary range. Your grammatical range and accuracy, how correct it is what you're saying. And your pronunciation. Now, let's have a look at ELSA Speak and how we can prepare with the app ELSA Speak for IELTS Speaking Part 2. Remember, there are some lessons in ELSA Speak that are free, but if you would like to have access to all of the lessons, you will need to purchase a subscription. And if you use the link below, you will get a nice discount on your membership. Let's have a look now. Okay, so I've got my phone, you can see it here on the side, and I'm going to open ELSA Speak, the app. You can see we're in the coach section. We're going to go one step to the left to explore, and then at the top it says Oxford Business Result. If you scroll down, you get to the IELTS speaking test section. Let's open that, and then we can see part 1, 2, and 3. And at the top, you have the IELTS band score. It's set to 7, but you could change it to 6 or 8. I'm going to stay at 7. And I'm going to open part 2 because that's what we want to practice. Okay, so you can see there are 6 different topics with several lessons each. So there's, for example, work and studies, places, sports, celebrations, friendship, and personal belongings. So for each section, you have different lessons. So work and study, you can see there are 9 lessons in total. And I have completed all 9 because I've been busy testing everything for you guys. So I would say we start with work and study so you can see an example. So here, level 1, that would be the first section, is about work. Then the second one is on education, and then goals. So in total we have 9 lessons. And each section, so for example, the first one on work, consists of a lesson teaching you vocabulary, collocations with pretty sure, get experience. Lesson 2 is the actual individual long term. And then lesson 3 will teach you some more vocabulary. Now, they are all really nice. I like the second section on education. I think there's also some nice vocabulary in there. So we're going to practice that so you can see an example.
End up.
Okay, so this is now the first lesson where we learn some vocabulary useful for this individual turn about education. And you can see the word, the transcript. You could listen again.
End up.
You can also listen slowly.
End up.
And you could also add this to your study set. And this says here vocabulary part 1. Now we're in part 2. You can start and create a new study set to collect some vocabulary. I'm not going to do that now, but you could. So end up, let's practice saying that. End up. Okay, so I've got it to advanced, and I think I said this in my first video, you have to be a bit closer to the microphone sometimes to get a good result. So I'll practice again. End up. It's not happy with my eh. Okay, one more time. End up. Okay, not really happy. I think always if you get anything above 70, 75, it's fine. Sometimes it's a bit picky with certain sounds. I'm just going to set it to regular. Then it usually gives you good feedback. It's nice to practice first, then you can switch to advanced. Let's do the next part.
It ended up being a great class.
It ended up being a great class.
On a whim.
Now this is a nice piece of vocabulary, I think. This is when you do something spontaneously without thinking about it much. On a whim.
I took that class on a whim.
Okay, so that was a very impulsive, instantaneous decision. I took that class on a whim.
I signed up on a whim, and it ended up being really good.
I signed up on a whim, and it ended up being really good. Okay, now it's calculating your score. And you could have a look here at the phrases again, 99% in this lesson. And then we can move on to the second lesson in this section, and that is the actual individual long turn. So let's have a look at that now, because this is really what would happen in the exam.
Describe a class that taught you a lot. What was the class about? What did you learn?
Okay, so this is the question. There are a couple of questions actually. In the exam, you might get some more prompts. And remember, you would have a minute now to prepare for your long turn. So you don't have to answer immediately. You can take a minute to think about your answer. You can take some notes on paper, and you can use those notes when you answer so that you can really speak for 2 minutes. Now, ELSA obviously has prepared an answer for you already, so read over it and then record yourself and practice your pronunciation. I'm going to do that now. I took a lot of interesting classes when I was in college and graduate school. I think one of my favorite was an undergraduate course in linguistics. Okay, and this is actually true because I studied linguistics and it was very interesting. There's the second part to my answer. I wasn't studying linguistics, but I had room in my schedule, and I took the class on a whim. It ended up being a good choice. I was already interested in languages, but studying linguistics helped me think about languages in new ways. It was an introductory course, so we learned a lot of basic ideas about linguistics. For example, I learned about phonetics and the sounds of different languages. I also learned a lot about grammar. Even though that class wasn't related to my major, I still remember it well. I'm glad I took it. I'm not in school now, but I'd like to learn more about linguistics in the future. Okay, so here apparently the even though sound wasn't right and it says try again, so I will. Even though that class wasn't related to my major, I still remember it well. I'm glad I took it. I'm not in school now, but I'd like to learn more about linguistics in the future. Okay, good. All right, so you can see this is the entire long turn. So it's really long. ELSA gives you the answers or the things you could say. Then you can record yourself and it will give you an immediate evaluation, and it will also underline any things that you need to practice more. Now, like I said, I have set it to regular, but you could now change to advanced, and you can see it will give you a more careful evaluation. And you can see, okay, 90%, 93%. You could also click on individual words, helped, for example, and it will tell you, okay, the h was excellent, the as well, the l, but the p sounded like a t, I. So it will just give you a more careful evaluation on the sounds. Now, like I said in my previous videos, I wouldn't be worried if you get anything between 70 and 100 because that's really good. Sometimes the evaluation is a bit strict, and obviously there are a lot of varieties of English. Sometimes it might also depend on your microphone, how close it is to your mouth or background noise, so just try again. But you can see I got like 93, 90, 87, and I can guarantee my pronunciation is good. So there's nothing to worry about. Even if you get a result like this, that is a very good result. Okay, good. Now I hope this was helpful, and remember, you have a lot of lessons here that you can practice. I only showed you 3, but if I go out again, there are a lot of different lessons. Some of those are free. You can try those out, but if you would like to have access to all of the lessons, make sure you purchase a subscription, and you can use my affiliate link below to get a discount. Now, if you have any questions about ELSA Speak, or specifically about the IELTS speaking exam, leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you take the exam, good luck. I hope you do really, really well.